Good morning, boys and girls. Happy Friday. I'm so excited to talk to you about this today. So, yesterday I said that we were going to talk about fables. And fables are fiction stories that have been passed down for a really long time, kind of like fairy tales. We talked about how fairy tales have been passed down for a really long time. But what makes a fable different? Normally, if we were in the classroom, I would have this on chart paper for our anchor chart, but I decided I would just type it up on here so that you could still see it. So, what makes a fable different? So, when we are reading fables, these are going to be stories that have animals as the main character, but they have human characteristics. So, the animals are acting like people. So, when we watch The Tortoise and the Hare in just a second, I want you to see what kind of characteristics that those animals have. The second thing that makes a fable different, it usually has a lesson or a moral that it is specifically trying to teach us. Most stories have a lesson or a moral, but fables are specifically trying to teach you this moral, and sometimes they even tell you what the moral is at the end of the story. And number three, there's humor. So they kind of have humor through foolish things that the animals do. There are some famous fables that most people have read or they keep popping up in our life. They are The Fox and the Grapes, The Lion and the Mouse, The Tortoise and the Hare, and The Fox and the Crow. My favorite out of these is The Tortoise and the Hare, and then I would probably say The Lion and the Mouse. We're going to look at these next week, but today we're going to focus on The Tortoise and the Hare. While we're watching The Tortoise and the Hare, I want you to look for those characteristics of the fable. Look for who the characters are. Look for the characteristics. Look for the lesson. And you can do that by looking for the mistake that a character makes or by thinking what advice you could have given to those characters. So I'm going to post it here, play it here. Now, already we saw a banner, boys and girls, that said big race today, tortoise versus hare. And the hare is walking out. And I want you to think, why is he acting so confident? Why is he, doing this and acting like he's got this in the bag? Why would he do that?
Well, may the best man win.
Thanks, I will, but I won't beat you too bad. Shake!
All right, boys and girls. So I want you to think about how the hare is acting and how the tortoise is acting. How could you describe how the hare is acting and how could you describe how the tortoise is acting? I want you to tell whoever you're watching this video with or just think in your brain. I would use the word to describe hare. I would say he's being cocky or he's being overly confident and he's not showing very good sportsmanship to the tortoise because when he tried to shake hands and say good game or may the best man win, the hare just kind of like did that like too slow and wouldn't shake his hand, which is not very nice when you're playing sports together.
That's a funny joke, but you caught me fair and square.
No hard feelings? Put her there. say it?
All right, and I'm going to pause it right there. So the tortoise we can see is trying his best and he's keeping a really positive attitude and he's just trucking along trying to get to that finish line. And it looks like the hare's already there, but he's not crossing the finish line. You doggone tootin' cutie. I'm the very best there is.
Let's stop play. Come on. We're having lots of fun.
Oh, me? I ain't got time. I got a race to run.
All right, so right there, they asked the tortoise to stop and talk to them too, and he said, "Nope, can't do it. I've got to stay focused and do what I'm working on."
So just when you're gonna go, the tortoise has the lead.
Say, I've lots of time to play. My middle name is Speed.
He sure can run like 60. Oh, baby, ain't he slick?
I was just warming up. Here's a better trick.
All right, boys and girls. So, who won that race? The tortoise did, you're right. And if we come back over here, I said there's always a lesson or a moral that is taught. And the tortoise and the hare, the moral that people always say with that one is slow and steady wins the race. But what does that mean? What does slow and steady wins the race? What does that mean? That means that if you take your time and you work hard at what you're doing, you do better. And that's exactly what happened. The tortoise said he didn't have time to stop and play. He wasn't trying to show off to people. He was just working hard and doing what he was supposed to do. So if you were writing that in your own words, boys and girls, in the comment section, I want you to tell me slow and steady wins the race. What does that mean in your own words? How could you rephrase that? What could you say about working hard, focusing, not showing off? What's something that we could say is a lesson that we could learn from that story? So I want you to put it in your own words. How could you say that? Next week, we are going to be looking at some of these other stories, and we'll actually read some of those and answer some questions about them. But I wanted you to understand what a fable and what theme was before we started answering those questions and doing that. I hope you all have a great weekend. Do something fun outside around your house, or do something fun inside. But I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you on Monday. Thank you.